Hey team, Jesse Reynolds here. Got your wide video for Monday morning, May the 19th, or May the 18th, and just want to talk to you about a simple question. Really, is what it comes down to. And I was kind of thinking through what I wanted to talk about in today's wide video, and then I just read a Facebook post from Dawn Funk, Platinum Leader, and that it just really just kind of put things into focus and helped me articulate just what I was thinking. Here's the simple question. And I want you to just pause and not brush over this question. I want you to be truthful and I want you to be honest. How bad do you want it? That's that simple. How bad do you want it? Because that is what everything really comes down to in this business. How bad do you want it? Not how bad do you need it? Not how nice would it be? Not what I like to say because it sounds good at a meeting. All those things are good and well, but what it really boils down to, when you look just a little bit below the surface, is how bad do you really want it? Because at the end of the day, if you really want it, if you have looked through your circumstances and you have gotten to a point where you say, something has got to change. I want something more for myself. I want something more for my family. I want something more for our future. I know our plan won't work long term. Something in the equation has got to change, and this is my vehicle to make that change happen. Well, if you're at that point and you're committed to change and you're committed to growth and you're committed to breakthrough, the reality is you will find success here in AdvoCare. But unfortunately, so many distributors come on board in AdvoCare, and you might be at that point where something's got to change, and you talk about something's got to change, and you see a bunch of other people making change, and we see all these great things happen in the team, and we're on the team calls, and we hear people popping pin levels and earning rookie bonuses and do all these things, and it sounds really great, and we kind of rally around that, and hoorah AdvoCare and all that good stuff. But then you don't make your calls. But then you don't bring prospects to the meeting. Then you don't hop on the Sunday night opportunity calls that we've been having, and you don't get new guests on it, and just all those different opportunities we have. See, the reality is, if you've been a part of AdvoCare for any length of time, again, this is a WOD video. If you're in the WOD coaching group, you have been trained on every single fundamental, probably multiple times, that you need to be extremely successful in AdvoCare. If you have seen my getting started video just one time, I have covered everything that you need to know and everything that you need to do to build this business to a multi-million-dollar business. But yet you're choosing not to do it. And there's all sorts of different things that might go into that. But really, at the end of the day, it comes down to, if we ever find ourselves not putting in the work. See, that is really the dividing line in this business. Is so many phenomenal things are available and are possible here in AdvoCare. I mean, this vehicle is the greatest opportunity that you, me, or anyone else has ever set our eyes upon. This is an average, ordinary person's best shot at an extraordinary lifestyle. Beth and I, she was a college student and I'm a teacher, and last month AdvoCare paid us $63,000. I mean, there's nothing that makes sense about it. I barely graduated college. AdvoCare has taken a person with no special ability and no special skill set and has changed our family tree forever. The freedoms that our son and future children will know are unlike anything else we ever could have imagined, because we applied ourselves to this vehicle. As I am not the most talented. In fact, our business moved very slow early on, the first really three and a half years before we started to get some traction, get some breakthrough. But what we never did is we never quit. We never made excuses. We never blamed. We never did anything other than just continue to keep our noses down, continue to go out there and just bootstrap it every single day and get after it, and just to quote Nikki Riot, and just be gritty stewards of this opportunity. That's what it really comes down to. It's so easy to talk about how nice this sounds. It's so easy to to stand up at the meeting, I lost 10 pounds and all those things. But how many people have you talked to today? How many people have you talked to this past week? How many guests have you put on the opportunity calls? We put out right before the opportunity calls, we talk about working the phones from 6 to 8 Central, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Central. Have you actually blocked out those time frames and glued yourself to the phone for just 2 hours once a week? These are simple things, because here's what I see going on right now. Everybody gets excited about AdvoCare coming out of AdvoNation or coming out of leadership school, and honestly, in a couple months, everybody's going to get excited coming out of Success School. But what about the in-between time? Because what I'm seeing happen right now is some of you are continuing to keep that momentum high. And, we're going to have more pins popping, and we're seeing that. But in some parts of the team, I see that the numbers are down. The numbers are down big time. The PGVs are down. The recruiting's starting to let off. And those are simple things that, and small things that in the short term, they won't really affect it very much. But the reality is this business lives and breathes momentum. And there's a concept called the slight edge. If you have not gotten and read the book, The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson, get that and read that, because the reality is the only reason if you've identified your purpose and what you want in AdvoCare and you still choose not to do it, it's because of how you think. It's not because of training and information. The training and information has been made available. You've been exposed to it already. Again, many of us have probably seen it multiple times, but yet you choose not to do it. And it's how we think that makes that determination. And so the slight edge is just a life philosophy. Jeff Olson didn't invent it. It was discovered. He didn't even discover it. It was just shared with him by other mentors. But he articulated it so well in his book. And it's simply this: simple, small daily decisions accumulated over time either move us closer to or further from where we want to be. Success is not any one monumental decision, and failure is not any one monumental decision. It's daily disciplines accumulated over time. Can you have a daily discipline of calling one new person a day? Can you have a daily discipline of introducing one new person to the success system a day? 3 a week, 5 a week, whatever your numbers are. You have to commit to those and just stay consistent at them over the long haul, because there's so many things that we can do that are fun, that are good, that are distractions from getting you to where you want to be. And this is a hard lesson to learn sometimes. And how I'm saying this is, I just read that post from Dawn Funk this morning. If you guys don't know, she basically was, it was something like she was in AdvoCare for 10 months, I think was the number. I think she was in AdvoCare for 10 months. It was only silver. And so, it's not bad. That's some extra income. But then like the next 7 or 9 months, she went from silver to diamond. And here she is just a couple years later, she's a platinum leader with it. And so, she has taken her family out of financial distress. She's taken them out of time debt. She's taken just all those things. She has completely changed her circumstances. And her post was essentially, when she started AdvoCare and she was there at that silver level and she was out there grinding it, she had 4 different jobs. Her husband wasn't supportive. She was doing mixers 3 to 4 nights a week. She committed to being at the weekly mixer at her sponsor's house every single Thursday. And she would come home and her kids would already be in sleep. She wouldn't even get to say goodnight to them. And one of her jobs was she baked cookies at night, and she would stay up until the wee hours in the morning, bake cookies, wake up the next morning, go to her day job as a professor, and just in that grind, day in, day out, week after week, month after month. But then in that first year and a half, she had enough breakthrough where she was able to pay down the debts and get her family out of that financial distress and get herself out of those jobs and buy back that time. See, there's an exchange system with AdvoCare. If you want it bad enough, you will put the work in. If you don't want it bad enough, you will put the excuse in. If you want it bad enough, you will find a way. If you don't want it bad enough, you will find an excuse. And so just be truthful and honest with yourself. And if you come to the conclusion and say, you know what, I don't want it bad enough, that's fine. But be truthful and honest with yourself. Don't walk around saying, yeah, I'm going to do it someday, because you should not deceive yourself like that. But to the other side of it, if you realize you haven't been putting the work in, that's okay, because here's the great news. You get to choose starting today to put the work in. Because here's the thing. Is it hard? You bet. Does it take a lot of work and effort? You bet. Are most people unwilling to do it? Yes. But that's the wrong question. The question shouldn't be, is it hard? The question is simply this: is it worth it? Guys, my wife and I, we've got a 6-month-old, and we've got all sorts of reasons for distractions. But, AdvoCare has provided us such incredible freedom for our family. It has changed everything for us with the paying our mortgage off early and getting out of the credit card debt and all those types of things where we have control over our time and have that type of financial freedom. It is so worth it. You have something you said yes to. Again, these WOD videos, these are optional. I don't know what your yes is or what your why is, what you said yes to with AdvoCare, but there is something you said yes to. And I want you to simply adopt this philosophy and understand this. Every single decision that we make, every action that we take, either gets us closer to or further from our goals. So start using that filter and evaluating it. If your goal is to be a stay-at-home mom, that might involve missing some softball games right now. But that's because you're making short-term sacrifices for long-term freedoms. If your goal is to be credit card debt-free or student loan debt-free or whatever types of debt, maybe that means you don't take a family summer vacation. I realize these things I'm sharing, I can't miss my kid's softball game. Well, if you don't miss a few softball games by getting into some mixers and getting into some meetings and going to Success School and stuff like that, you're going to miss a lifetime of experiences because you're going to be stuck at your job. If you I can't, we got to take a family vacation this summer. We take a family vacation every summer. I get that. But, what if you missed one family vacation this summer to go on vacation any time of the year for the rest of your lives because you got yourself out of debt? It takes commitment, and it takes commitment matched with action, and that's all comes back to desire. Do you want it bad enough? I just think back to Beth and I when we got started. I can remember we were in Jacksonville, and this is 7.5 years ago, so AdvoCare was very, very different. Or I shouldn't say AdvoCare. AdvoCare has been great, but the world of AdvoCare, the exposure, it was not coast to coast, nationwide. Everybody's doing AdvoCare. The closest activity was 2 hours away. And I can remember that we would go down to Orlando twice a month to get in the room just so we could be at a meeting where somebody else knew AdvoCare. And I would work a 12-hour day, and we would hop in the car 2 hours down, and we would be at a meeting for a couple hours, and we'd hop in the car 2 hours back, and I would wake up the next morning, get back to work before 7 a.m. again, and do it all over again like that. And that was really hard. I was really tired. We sometimes have to switch off driving and stuff like that, and just, but you know what? We did it. We showed up, and sometimes we'd have people in the room, and sometimes we wouldn't have people in the room, but we kept going after it. And because we knew and understood that if we didn't make this AdvoCare thing work, time would pass. Eventually, we would start a family, and we wouldn't have the type of time with our kids we wanted. We would be stuck, drowning in debt still. We knew this was our lifeline, and so we didn't just let it, pass us by and say, oh, well, maybe something else will come along, or well, I'll eventually get around to it. We did. We cut the cable. We got rid of that cable because we wanted out of debt. $200 a month for cable and internet and those things. That wasn't getting us closer to where we want to be. We cut the cable. We stopped watching TV. We found hours in our day. We didn't eat lunch out. So we started bringing lunch to places, and we get out of church, and we would say, no, sorry guys, can't go to lunch today. We go home, we would cook lunch. Simple things like that accumulated positive slight edges. And the reality is this video is getting a little longer than I want to be, but I hope you understand. It just comes down to this: how bad do you want it? Are you willing to put the work in? Are you willing to apply that filter simply of, is this decision and action, is it getting me closer to or further from where I want to be? If you will adopt this mindset and this philosophy, not only will you close out this pay period strong, but you will close out this summer strong, and you will close out 2015 strong, and you're going to go into the end of the year, the new year, and you're going to achieve freedom for your family that you never believed or imagined possible. But you got to put the work in. You guys are champions. Let's go out there and change the world.